Welcome team. Today we are going to assess our foot ankle mobility. This is probably one of the most important videos that we can do together to help make sure our bodies stay happy and healthy and free from discomforts. You see a lot of people that come into our studio with different discomforts, whether in their hip, their knee, their back, their ankle. A lot of it we find results from the tissues or joints in the feet not doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. And what happens is, because our feet are the first thing to strike the ground, whether we're walking, running, playing sports, if they're not doing their job, then the chain reaction that's supposed to happen to help us have an efficient and effective walk and run and everything else, right? So the chain reaction that's supposed to happen if our feet aren't doing their job doesn't happen, or it happens in some kind of pretty compensated way. And those compensations might be okay at first, but then over time, a lot of times they create lots of discomforts that make us unhappy and make the tissues unhappy too. So we're going to be going through the different motions of our feet, what they're supposed to do when they land, when they push off, and you're just going to kind of feel out which ones feel good and which ones maybe are a little tight, so therefore they're not able to do their job as well. And the motions that you feel are tight, you can do these same assessment exercises and use them as exercises to help you get your feet moving better. Now remember, as we go through this, we always want to start small. We're taking our time. We can always go bigger as the reps progress, and we want to make sure that we're not feeling any discomfort or any pain. So if there's some pain, that means you've probably went a little bit too far, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started. And one of the first things that we're going to be doing is just checking in on our ankle dorsiflexion, which is just kind of a fancier term for the shin just kind of getting closer to the foot, okay, if we want to keep it kind of real simple. Now, not only are you looking for which motions are tight, you want to ideally feel some symmetry. So if one ankle's really tight and one ankle's pretty loose, then you want to start to work to get those more symmetrical, okay? If both of them are pretty tight, then obviously we want to get them to be where they're both being a little bit better and symmetrical. So we're going to start off, and I'm going to show you a couple different views when we do this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to place our right foot forward. And I'm only going to go just where my right heel lines up with the line of my toes on the left foot here, okay? So I'm shoulder width feet. And I'm just going to step forward enough to where my left big toe is lined up with my right heel. Now, as I come down, I'm just going to do a nice little squat until I feel a little bit of a stretch in my left ankle or calf. Might feel it in the foot. It's very important that the heel stays down. And then the other pieces that are important, which are a little easier to see this view, okay, is that knee stays centered with my foot. So if big toe is toe number 1, my knee's kind of lined up with toes 2 and 3. So I'm just going to go nice and gentle, right down to where I feel end range of motion. I'm not forcing it. Here's a couple other things to watch out for. So some compensations. If the ankle's tight, this foot will either want to start out or flare out. It's very important the feet start straight, okay? Another one might be this knee kind of diving in after you've reached end range of motion. We don't want that. We also don't want the hips to turn or pop out. So everything, we're very relaxed, but everything's just nice and centered. We're just going down till we feel end range and then coming back up. Okay, let's check out our other foot. Now, it's very important. This also stays shoulder width, feet are straight, and then my left heel is only going to go to where my right toes are, okay? That same distance. Otherwise, if I step bigger on this second ankle, I'm going to get a completely different reading. I won't be able to compare very well. So we're going to go left foot forward, and we're just going to squat down. Knee stays centered. And I feel that stretch a little sooner and a little more intense. So for me, my right ankle's a little bit tighter in this plane of motion. And I'm just going to go a couple more times just to kind of confirm that. Okay, very good, team. Now we're gonna kind of look at the opposite. We're gonna look at plantar flexion, okay, which happens when we're pushing off, our back foot pushing off and running or walking, okay? So that's part of our job here. This you might want to utilize a wall for, and you could utilize a wall for all of these. So if you feel like it's a little bit tougher and you need a little bit of support, just place your hands on the wall as you're doing this. You know, you could have the video to your side and just the hands right here if you like. If you can with this motion, we're gonna go no wall, but we're just gonna kind of come up, and I'm just gonna kind of see what kind of motion I have with that. Is one a little bit more tight? Is one a little bit more loose? Okay, if you feel off balance at all, you definitely want to be using the wall. Most of us should probably be using the wall in this video, okay? Or like a table, something with a little bit of support, and you're just feeling that out. And we're just taking a look at that motion, and you might choose to do just staying on the ground and just lifting that one foot up, okay? Something that requires a little less stability. So just kind of lifting that up, almost kind of pushing it off, and just kind of say, okay, how does that feel? Do I feel like there's a little bit of a stretch there? And you might feel it more here, you might feel it up the shin a little bit, and then same thing, okay? So where the other one, I definitely felt a little bit of like kind of locked up feeling on my right, my left feels very mobile to me, okay? And you might be able to notice a difference on the video just kind of looking. So that's another way of doing this. We don't have to do the wall touch and lifting the legs there, okay? Because there is a little bit of stability involved in that. Okay, so now we've covered the forward and back motion, but now we've got the side to side motions that the feet go through, again, whether we're stepping down or pushing off. These ones are a little tougher to see, okay? But a couple things we gotta keep in mind. The ball of the foot and the heel gotta stay on the ground, and then so does this kind of little knuckle here below the pinky, okay? So we don't want to roll the foot like this where the whole side of the foot's lifting up, because then we're no longer really getting a good look at the joints and tissues of the feet. Then we're just kind of rolling the foot. So with this one, we're gonna start off, again, I'm nice and shoulder width, and I'm gonna bring my knees closer together sideways. So I'm not turning them. So I'm gonna bring them closer together sideways. And what we should feel, and I'll show you a different view in a moment, is the heels kind of smushed to the outside, all right? It's called eversion. And then the forefoot's kind of smushed to the outside, and our arches come down a bit. So we're just gonna get a nice look. And again, we should kind of see the forefoot smush a little bit to the right and left, and then the heels kind of smush a little bit to the right and left. So I'm here, and you'll see my heels kick this way, just indirectly from the motion. Okay, and you can do one at a time if you want. Just kind of see how it feels. Does it feel gunky? Is it going easy? Is it really tough? Does things feel like they're stuck together? Okay, then we gotta go the other way. So the knees are gonna go sideways out, and now you might feel your arches lift up a little bit. Your heels are gonna come to the inside, and same thing with the big toe, the forefoot it comes into the inside a little bit. So I'm smushing them to the outside, and I'm just getting a feel for how those arches are doing, okay? And how that heel's doing and how that forefoot's doing. So again, the knees are leading the motion. All right, if I give you a little side view here, so I'm gonna move my other leg out of the way. I'm moving it sideways. You can see that arch lifts up a little bit, okay? And if I give you the back view, you can see that my heels are gonna come in. And you might have a good view on which one, for me, is doing a little bit better. Again, for you, you're judging by your eyes, but you're also judging by feel. Okay, now we have rotation. Very, very important. So in the transverse plane. So now we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna twist my knees inward. And what we should really feel with these is really just to focus on the arch. So with still keeping the outer pinky knuckle down, the heels and the big toe, the ball of the foot, I should really feel those arches squish into the ground. And I'm just kind of, again, looking, but also feeling. So if there was a bug underneath my arch, I would want to squish that bug. So I'm really twisting the knees in. They're creating the motion. Okay? And I like both of those. My right feels maybe a little bit tighter. And again, I'll give you a kind of a side view of what's supposed to happen in this arch here. So as I twist in, okay, my knee's going to turn to the inside of that foot just like that. I'm going to squish. So there's my arch. I'm squishing it into the ground. Okay? And ideally it goes there. If you feel like stuff has to lift up, that's just end range of motion. So if you get to like there and you feel like your outside foot has to lift up, you've then reached end range of motion. Lastly, we're going to twist to the outside. So we're going to bring our knees to the outside of the feet, and you should feel your arches come up. So now if there's that little bug underneath your arch, you're kind of letting it run away and letting it live. So the ball of the foot, heel stays down, and we're going to turn to the outside, and we're going to go as big as we can. And again, we're judging by feel, we're judging by sight. How is righty? How's lefty? And then I can give you a side view here. So we're starting off neutral, twisting out, and I like that motion. I think it's doing a pretty good job. Again, I feel a little bit of tightness in my right compared to my left. But overall, I like both feet pretty well, okay? My right's got a little bit of work. So what I'll do is I'll take these motions that I know are a little tighter on the right. I might do 5 or 10 reps a day to start to get it to open up. And once I feel like that motion started to take hold and it's doing a better job, then I know I'm in a much better place with my feet, okay? Be sure to tune into the stability video right after this one.